Hello and welcome, beautiful souls, to day 15. I'm checking the day 15. And if you're still with me on the journey, I really appreciate you and really invite you to honor yourself for this commitment. This is a commitment, a devotion to you. And even if you're just popping in here and there and listening to only certain audios, it still is a commitment and a devotion. There's a lot of information out there. And so I appreciate your continued participation. We are in a time of information overload. The information is at our fingertips. And so it requires discernment to choose where to invest in digesting information. I really am committed to creating an experience along with sharing the concepts and this body of work. I really, from my experience, I learn best, I integrate best, I embody best when I am participating in some kind of experiential way. And so the guided processes, all of the contemplations I invite you to do each day, I find that for me, myself, I integrate best when I'm also taking the concepts and looking at how I can embody them in my life, in my day-to-day life, in my walking, waking moments. And it can just be contemplations, or it can be energetic work, and it can be nervous system regulation. It can be emotional work, any and all of that. I am going to talk today about energetic creation. And I have been facilitating conversations on this topic for 15 plus years. And I always called it creation energy. I call it creating in energetics. And one of my mentors, who some of you I know follow as well, Melanie Ann Lair, she talks about it in terms of being in the God zone. And I love both terminologies. And I think it's just about really finding what works for you. So as I've shared through this journey, I really see this as three components. One is regulating the nervous system. When we are overstretched, we're overwhelmed, we're frazzled, our nervous system requires that regulation. The other component is the emotional intelligence, the ability to feel the feelings without judgment, without making it wrong. Allow our feelings and emotions to be what they're meant to be, which is energy and motion. It's moving through our body. Allow them to express, whether they're uncomfortable or they're welcomed with open arms. All of them are important. Every emotion has intelligence in it, has wisdom, has medicine in it. And so the more we can be with it, the more we can receive from it. And then the other component is the creation energy. It's energetic creation. It's learning how to tune into very specific energetic frequencies to curate, to cultivate, to create the life that you desire, to become the artist of your life. And I could probably do, a 3-month course talking about this for every day for months. It is, for some of us, it is very innate and natural. I mean, the reality is we're doing it all the time. Just, like in the conversation of manifestation, we're always manifesting. It's just a matter of how aware we are, how conscious we are of what we're manifesting. And, this is, I guess, my version of how to consciously create, how to consciously manifest. It's through frequency work, through energetic work. It is not the only path. It is the path that I have been naturally drawn to for the last 2 decades. And so it is my path to share. It's my process to share. And there may be something different for you. And so I always, anytime I'm listening to any facilitator, teacher, anybody that's speaking about these concepts, I take what works for me. I tweak what works but isn't quite there for me, and I discard the rest. And inviting you to do that here as well, really listening with that discerning approach of, let me see what clicks for me. And, sometimes something doesn't click in the moment, and then A month later, a year later, 5 years later, you come back to it and you're like, oh, okay, now it does click. We're in different spaces at different points of time in our life. In terms of conscious creating, one of the reasons why I've invited you through this journey, as you've thought about your desires and your intentions, to think about that emotional component, is because we can use our emotions. That's part of the emotional intelligence. We can use our emotions to discern the energetic frequency. So if I'm on a frequency of love, or if I want to choose to play in a frequency of love, I can access it through the feeling of love. Or I can know if I'm currently in that frequency by how I feel. If I choose to consciously create in a frequency of ease, I know whether or not I'm accessing that frequency by how I feel. And this is true for every single frequency that exists in our reality, which is an infinite number of frequencies. And there are like the pure frequencies, kind of like the rainbow, where you have pure colors. Like you might have a pure red and then it blends with an orange, and now you have kind of a reddy orange. And it's the same with frequencies, right? There's the pure frequency and then there's blended frequencies. So for the purpose of this conversation, I am diving in a little bit deeper into how we consciously create with frequencies. And I, as it relates to the concept of the God zone, which is, a term that I'm seeing more often used in this industry, one of the ways that we access frequencies is by being the observer and consciously choosing to go into that realm of frequency to play. But it's not some other dimension. It is not some superpower that only some can access. Every single person can and does access it in every moment. And the important thing to know is that it is the path to connecting to and tapping into frequencies is available in every single moment of every single day. We hear about this concept of the power of now, and it's something that we hear, and how important the present moment is and how important, the now moment is. And we hear it and we get it and we know it, and then we dismiss it, myself included, because it's very simple, and we are often chasing the highs. We're often chasing the immediate gratification. We're chasing what we think is out of reach for us. We have this idea that there are these desires that are on pedestals. And so we think it's way out there. It's in the future. It's somewhere else. It's not where I am. It's I can access it if I have the money. I could access it if I had the body. I could access it if I had this or that. But in fact, everything is accessible in this present moment. And so as we look at our intentions and our desires, the beautiful thing about them is they are the invitations to the journey, to what we would like to realize, actualize, receive, experience. And we can tap into them in the present moment. So when we go back to the concept of looking at our intentions and our desires from the vantage point of what is it that I would feel if I were to be experiencing that in this moment? What is it that I would be feeling? And maybe we can't quite get the right word for it, and that's okay. But you can get a sense of what it might be. This requires some play. It's not like you get it on the first try and you're one and done. It requires play. It requires a commitment, a devotion to contemplate, to notice, to observe, to explore. So I desire to experience, I'll use money as an example. I desire to experience a certain level of income, a certain level of consistent income. And so then I go in to imagine, well, what is it that I would be feeling if I was consistently receiving or earning that income? What is it that I would feel? And then I go into exploring, okay, I would feel this freedom. I would feel freedom around money. I would feel confidence. I would feel ease. I would feel that I can release my worries. And so the invitation is to explore all of those feelings. It's not just one emotion or one sense of being that you'll experience. We're multifaceted. So, what is it? How would you describe how that would feel if you were to receive that level of income? And if money's not what you're playing with, then replace it. And once we get that sense of that feeling, and we sense, how does that feel in my body? So we become aware of the feeling, we contemplate it, we feel it, we contemplate it, we feel it. And then let's go into the body and really notice, where is it that I feel it? Do I feel it in my heart? Do I feel it in my crown? Do I feel it in my root, in my sacral chakra? Do I feel it in my chest, my belly? Is it an overall feeling, an overall sensation throughout my entire body? Where is it that I feel it? And then the next step is to access that feeling in every moment. So as I'm at work and I'm finishing a meeting and I have a minute before I join my next meeting, and I'm the observer and I'm recalling my commitment and devotion to this, I take a moment and I access that feeling. I access that feeling. And a couple of times through the prior guided processes, I invited you to imagine a statement being said by someone else or by yourself, and that activates the feeling within and activates the energy. So I say to myself, I can't believe it. I can't believe I've achieved this. I can't believe that I've achieved this consistent income. As an example, you'd say it in your own words so that it's actually an activation within you. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Oh, I cannot believe it. I never thought this would happen. I can't believe it, right? Now I'm using those words to activate that feeling, the emotions, which activates the energy. And now I soak in that energy. I sit in that energy. I notice where it is in my body and I allow myself to feel it. And that is tapping into the energy of creation. You don't require specifics. I often play in general. So I'll often play for ease as an example, I'll often just play in the energetics of ease. I'll often just play in, okay, what does ease feel like in my body? Because I desire that in general. And I'll go in and I'll access ease through my day. Or harmony in relationships, or intimacy in relationships, or what would it feel like for my body just to feel good, right? So it doesn't always require specifics, but when we're feeling really drawn to a specific desire, then that's how we can access it through, what is it that I desire? What would it feel like in my body? Feeling the emotions and then noticing where the emotions are activated within my physical body and then going straight there. So when you first are practicing this, there will be the process, and then you'll get to a point where you automatically can just go there because you've practiced it. I've practiced the energy of love so many times in my life that I can often just get there. Not if I'm, grieving something, of course. It's really important that when we're playing with the energetics, that we understand that we only access the energetics once we have a baseline of, I'm okay, everything's going to be okay. So that's why the emotional intelligence and the nervous system regulation is critical. Because if we're not emotionally stable, and if we don't have our nervous system regulated, we are not easily able to access the energetic frequencies. So it's important that we're starting from a baseline of everything's okay, I'm okay. And that's a very, very powerful state to be in. It's overlooked, it's misunderstood because we want to chase the highs. We want the big swings. We want all of the big stuff because that's what we've been trained to desire. But living from a space of, I'm okay, everything's going to be okay, And so when you notice yourself, so for example, in my example of I had this big financial hit early on in our journey. And I got to a place of, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. This is something I've practiced, right? So you might not get there right away, and that's fine. But I first got to a place of, I'm going to be okay. And that's my first process. And it might take time. It might take, several days of actively working on it. Or, depending on how comfortable I am in playing with this or how easily I can access it, it may it may be quick. I'm at a point now, especially with finances, where I can get there really quick because I've been playing with it a long time. So I can almost immediately get into, I'm okay. I'm okay. I got it. I got this. Right. But it wasn't always like that before. It used to take me a long time. And so we want to get to a place where it's like, I'm okay. I'm in the centered space. That is the most powerful foundational spot from which we can then go into accessing the creation energy. So from there, I can go into, okay, so I've had this hit financially and I'm okay. And now what? Now what would I like to experience? Now what can I experience instead? What else might I choose? So inviting you to think about your intention, your intentions, your desires, whether it's what you've declared in these 21 days, or maybe it's just something that's come up for you today. And really looking at, okay, are you at a place where you're okay? And if not, does this require nervous system regulation or does this require some emotional processing? And once you are at a place where you are okay, I'm okay, everything's okay. Now you go into the process of what is it that I desire? What would I feel on the having of it? How does that feel in my body? Where do I feel it in my body? And then accessing that feeling, noticing that feeling and accessing that feeling. I will leave you with that. This is life changing. It requires a devotion. So it maybe not be for everyone. It requires a commitment, but it's so simple when you can get there and it will change everything for you. Have an incredible day, and until next time.